Before starting, there's something I do need to come clean with. Because of some things that I'll bring up later, this isn't actually a full 100%. But I already had a lot of this video edited and I didn't want to just throw all of it away. But without further ado, welcome to Stardew Valley, a game all about growing and upgrading your garden, all while achieving many different goals along the way. And today you'll see just how I started 100%ing it. First things first was getting our new character ready for the grind of a lifetime as we made our way to the infamous town of Stardew Valley. Waking up in our rundown farmhouse for the first time, we only had a few tools and a housewarming presence of 15 parsnips to our name. So we made our way outside to start cleaning up all of the debris and to start having space to grow all of our parsnips. We couldn't forget to water them either, as without it, it'll cause the plants to grow slowly or eventually just die altogether. But making our way into town, I hit my first hurdle of the game. How do I start? Of course, a big mechanic in this game is making money, but I am just terrible at making money in every single game I've ever played. But I did find my journal, which held the objective to meet all of the residents. So now having some goal in mind, we spent the rest of the day just going around and meeting as many people as we could. And as the sun was already setting, we used the rest of our energy we had to collect some resources while clearing out our farm and also selling the few random things we had picked up along the way, so we could make a total of 91 gold for day one. With the start of day 2, we got our morning chores completed as we read a new letter that we've been sent, as heading down to the beach, we could meet the fisherman Willie, who will give us our first fishing rod. And using it to catch our first fish, we have started probably the most well-known fishing minigame in all of gaming, which I do not think is a crazy thing to say at all. But moving on, we got our first help wanted request to catch a catfish. Definitely the worst part about fishing is how much trash you can collect, but even worse is we went all day long fishing and didn't catch a single catfish. So while running home, I looked on the wiki and turns out catfish can only be caught while it is raining. It's pretty weird that we'd even get that request for while it isn't even raining. But heading to bed that night, we ended up fishing so much that we made it all the way to level 1 of fishing. And to be so lucky, the next morning we had some rain kick in, which not only waters our plants for us, but also meant we were sent right back to fishing. Fuck! That's probably the catfish. Dude! Failing every single catfish attempt we had, it just was not our destiny to complete our first help wanted request. At least all the fish we caught sold for a good amount of money that we can use over at Paris so we can buy more seeds with potatoes and cauliflower, as parsnips really did not sell for that much. Speaking of, day 5 saw our parsnips finally grow, but adding the extra crops made manually watering it all so much worse. Yet heading into town, we have unlocked more stuff like the community center where we've met our first Junimon, and also found a note in another language that was very unfamiliar to us. But even better, we got to meet Marlon, who gave us a rusty sword, unlocking the mines. Easily one of my favorite things about this game. Through the mines, there are ladders that you can find that'll bring you down to a lower floor. There's also a new resource with copper ore to be collected and danger within the depths that we had to be careful about. Although to help with progression, every 5 floors will be an elevator to use as a checkpoint to start out when beginning a new day in the mines. But easily the worst part down here is these super limiting 12 slots of inventory that we get, half of which are used for your tools and your food so you can heal and keep your energy up. However, we did have a new journal entry to reach floor 40 of the mines, which meant we now had a much clearer objective to begin working towards. And at the end of our first mining trip, we made it down to floor 10, collecting our first treasure with the leather boots, which gave us a +1 defense and immunity, and then heading home before it got too late. With the collection of all of our new resources, we had a visit from the blacksmith Clint, who opened up his shop to us to allow us to upgrade our tools. We also had a letter from the wizard who wanted us to meet as he had information on the Junimons. He was able to easily decipher the note that we found in the community center, which stated that only someone who is one with the forest can communicate with them. And to become one with the forest, all that required was getting high on some trees, allowing us to access the first of many bundles in the community center. After that, we were back into the mines in search of a lot more copper ore. But moving deeper really started causing problems, as our little dinky sword really started to get outclassed by all of the enemies, causing me to take an early retreat. At least while down there, we collected enough copper for a furnace and could smelt all the bars we needed for a pickaxe upgrade. Upgrade tools. It's 2,000? It's copper! I thought it'd be cheap. I thought it'd be like 200. For the first tier of upgrades, I really wasn't ready for copper to be at all expensive, but at least we could buy some more extra inventory slots instead. 2,000. I've come to a realization. I am poor. Money was a huge problem for us, as some days will go by and we will have nothing at all to sell. Despite all that, we could head over to the Adventurers Guild and speak with Marlon. There were also eradication goals for the mobs, which would give us rewards for each one we've completed. But for Marlon, we could buy a new club upgrade. Clubs are really nice weapons over swords because their secondary attack is an AoE slam that can hit multiple times if used properly. And with some more perfect timing, we had another help wanted request to take out some slimes, which was more than simple enough. To take a small break from mining though, we were also finding geodes that we could pop open for exclusive minerals or even some artifacts that could be taken into the library and donated to Gunther's museum. And every few items donated will also be paid for with rewards. But concluding our small break, we made it down to floor 20 of the mines where we got a pretty pointless sword. But we did get some good luck finding a mining monthly book to give us some XP to our mining skills. And shortly after found the monster compendium, which gave mobs a small chance to drop extra loot on death. Then continuing the good news with Marlon, we finished a bug eradication goal, which gave us a huge upgrade with the insect head sword. Later that night, we were notified about hearing an explosion on our farm when we found what I can only assume is a meteor that we cannot harvest right now with our pickaxe strength. But at least all of our potatoes are ready for the harvest and to be sold. Thankfully, while waiting for them to sell, we did have just enough gold to upgrade to a copper pickaxe. And to make some more money on the next day, we began to fish when we captured the easiest fish in all of existence, which also happened to be our first achievement with catching 10 different fish species. And thanks to our potatoes, we also made it a farming level 2 and unlocked sprinklers. Although not only do they require iron, which we haven't even found yet, but they also only water in a cross, which just seems like such a waste of resources, as once we hit level 6, we can get sprinklers that water all around. But waiting on them would turn out to be way worse than I expected. However, our potatoes did sell for quite a bit of cash, which meant we can now double the amount of inventory space we had before, spending the rest on more potato seeds. After that, I took some time to collect some of the foraging items on the ground, which meant we could now complete the spring foraging bundle and start on the exotic foraging one. On completion, we also unlocked the pantry and fish tank bundles, which are for crops and fish respectively. Although one of the crop bundles is for quality crops. There's a few ways you can get your crops to be more valuable, and I want to say that fertilizer is a pretty good way at getting us our golden parsnips. I also decided to plant down the spring seeds I got for finishing our foraging bundle, which was a huge mistake. Without any sprinklers, it took us so much time and more importantly energy to water all of these crops every single day. But while we're doing that, guys, make sure to leave a like on the video if you are enjoying yourself, and subscribe if you haven't already, as each bit of support is a huge piece of motivation every single day. Thankfully, we had an event today, which meant our low energy for the day didn't matter. We could use the gathering to finish up our mission to meet all of the residents before being sent out on a savage battlefield of an egg hunt, where we absolutely demolished some children for first place. Next up was back to the mines again to go even deeper. Our new insect head actually made every single floor an absolute cakewalk, as we made it down to floor 30. Although there's a huge downside to the 30s. It's so damn dark. Just seeing the direction we were going in was rough. So the plan was to speed run through each and every floor, as there wasn't anything new here anyways, as we very easily made it to floor 40, which was thankfully a new level, and we also got the slingshot. Now the 40s were pretty important because we could finally start harvesting iron, and just like copper, we made sure to collect a whole lot of it to be able to craft anything we would need to. After a little, we were even down on floor 50 for another armor upgrade. Our small batch of cauliflower and parsnips were also fully grown by now, but sadly we only got 2 of the 5 golden parsnips, meaning a second harvest was needed. And then next day we had our potatoes up for sale yet again, which not only got us to farming level 4, but also meant that we have made over 15,000 total gold. We used all this new income to upgrade to a silver pickaxe, and also put in the work to have a more visually pleasing farm, which seemed to be all we needed to secure the rest of our golden parsnips. With that, the last days of spring were approaching us. For the farm, we spent all of our gold on kale, as it was one of the few things that would grow in time before summer. On the 21st, we had ourselves a day of rain and took this opportunity to get all of the community center fish, with a shad, catfish, sardine, eel, bream, sunfish, bullhead, largemouth bass, and a carp. While doing that, we also ended up fishing over 100 100 total fish, which was enough to reach fishing level 5. Now the thing with hitting level 5 and 10 is you're giving a choice between two abilities to make your stats better. With fishing, we of course went with Fisher to make fish more valuable. With that, we grabbed everything we've been collecting to finish the spring crops bundle and to also start the quality crops, ocean fish, crab pot, construction, river, lake, and night fish bundle. Unlocking the boiler room, which had an adventure bundle for an easy one to finish, which unlocked the bulletin board. Making some great progress on the community center, we continued to do our chores until all of our kale was fully grown, getting us to level 5 farming, where we chose tiller for more valuable crops. And the next day we also had the option to choose the mushroom cave over the fruit beds. But with not much left for us in the spring, the rest of our time was spent down in the caves. We found another XP book, but this time for foraging, made it down to floor 60 for another pointless weapon, reached level 5 mining and went with the miner trait for +1 ore per vein, made it down to floor 70 for the master slingshot, while also flying through the 70s with the only new thing being skeletons, which were very simple, and then made it down to floor 80. We got another boots upgrade, but did have to be careful as enemies would become a lot stronger past this point. But the 80s is now where we could start finding some gold ore, which we of course made sure to collect a very large amount of, before making it down to level 90 to obtain the obsidian edge, an actual good weapon upgrade for us, and also made it to combat level 5 and went with the fighter trait to do more damage. Although the obsidian edge would not be staying with us for long, as an enemy dropped the holy blade. Now while it says it does less damage than the obsidian edge, it actually performed just a little bit better because of what I am assuming are the weapon's enchantments, although I have no idea what they do. With it, we made it all the way down to floor 100 to claim our first star drop, a consumable that gives us a permanent boost in energy. But floor 100 is not yet the bottom of the mines, as we continued our way down to floor 110 for our last boot upgrade in the mines. And before we even knew it, spring was past us as we started our summer season. With whole new crops available, we spent all of our gold on wheat, corn, and blueberry seeds, as well as some melon seeds that we collected from Gunther. But even with the new season, it still sucked trying to water all of the crops, as every single time we would have barely any energy for the day. At least we could eat the mushrooms for some energy, which would be used for a whole lot more fishing to earn money while the crops grow, because I wanted to focus a little bit more on animals this season and get our first coop built. While waiting for the coop to be ready though, I collected a few easy resources to complete the summer foraging, construction, and blacksmith bundles, which also unlocked the vault for us, as we went right back to fishing for some more money, allowing us to catch our 24th unique species of fish. And this night only, we had a crop fairy roll in and proceed to bloom the most pointless region of our garden. But at least our coop was finally all done, so now we could head down to Marnie's to buy some chickens, where she isn't working today. But looks like we're gonna be back tomorrow where she still isn't working. Third time's the charm then. We could finally catch her behind the register and fill up our coop with some chicks, meaning that petting and feeding them every morning would become another chore added to the list. But that is when something huge happened. Oh my god. I've made it to level 6. Finally, at level 6, we have unlocked quality sprinklers and can use our iron and gold we've been collecting to place them down all around the farms, meaning days of watering the crops and having no energy would become a thing of the past. But the audacity that this game has to instantly make it rain for the next couple of days is insane. At least with the farm now figured out, we could use our energy to continue inside of the mines, where we very easily made it all the way down to the final layer at floor 120 and could claim the skull key for ourselves. This was also around the time that our chicks grew up and would start producing eggs, which is really good for us because putting them in a mayonnaise machine allows us to turn them into mayo. And while it might not sell for loads, it means that at minimum we have something to sell every single day and actually have a source of constant income. We actually made enough money to reach a total of 50,000 gold, which could be reinvested into a barn so that we could buy some cows. And just like the chickens, we could turn their milk into cheese every day for more money. With that, we were back to fishing for the community center, catching a tilapia, red snapper, tuna, and a sturgeon. That, with everything else we've been collecting, let us finish the summer crops, exotic foraging, lake fish, ocean fish, and geologist bundle, which means we have not only completed but repaired the boiler room and all of its bundles to claim our first star. Finishing an entire room meant that the Junimon would repay us by fixing things around Stardew, starting with the mine carts, which allows us to fast travel to certain points of the map. Back on the farm, we crafted ourselves a keg to make some wine, which also also happened to be our 15th crafted item. And down by the beach, we enjoyed our last night of summer with the dance of the moonlight jellies. Easily one of my favorite events, with a super good song that goes to it as well. Heading to bed that night, we'd be awoken by the leaves of fall. Easily my favorite looking season of them all. It also meant it was time for some new seeds with the sunflower, cranberry, eggplant, pumpkin, and yam seeds. With the introduction of fall, we also had the new special orders board, pretty much that helps wanted requests but way bigger missions. Fall did bring one small problem though. That being, I have no idea what I should be doing next. So I decided to do the easier community center goals and finish up the fall foraging bundle while also catching the trigger trout, wood skip, ghost fish, and walleye, letting us finish the river and night fishing bundle while starting the specialty fish one. All while doing that, we could also upgrade to a golden pickaxe and finally have the power to destroy this meteor, which actually dropped a prismatic shard for us. Something I am extremely unlucky on finding naturally, so I will be saving this for later. Continuing to use our new pickaxe, we could collect some stone for Robin, completing our 10th help wanted request, and could keep on using her to upgrade our house to the 2nd level, meaning I could use all of this extra space we get to finally have an organized storage system. And we also upgraded to a big barn, which allowed us to add goats for a future necessity. After that, I decided it was time to do our first special orders request to find ectoplasm from a ghost and turn it into the wizard. As a reward, we got the mini obelisk recipe, which would allow us to teleport from one place to the other anywhere on the farm. Something that sounds extremely useful, so I instantly got it down. And then somehow completely forgot that I would need a second one to actually teleport to, and didn't have any of the resources to create another. Meaning, yes, this would just sit here for eternity as a decoration. But our pumpkins were ready for the harvest and sold for quite a bit, which let us save over 45,000 gold and purchase out every single bundle inside of the vault and repair our second room in the community center. For completing one of the bundles, we got ourselves a free crystallarium, a station that'll slowly but infinitely duplicate any gem we put into it. So with the need for a massive amount of jade in the future, that seemed to be the obvious choice for us. And finishing up the vault also meant that the bus has now been repaired. That bus is gonna have to be put on hold for just a moment though, as the fair has just begun today and we really need to get first place in it. I brought what I feel like is a pretty stacked lineup of either very valuable or really high quality items to really secure that first place standing. Before being judged though, there were a few things that we needed to do first. Heading over to the shop, we can find a star drop being sold, as yes, there are multiple, and yes, we do need all of them. There are a few ways to get Stardew tokens in the festival, as I went with the fishing minigame, seeing how it's something I've gotten a lot better at since starting, and because reeling in perfections gives you a huge booster, letting us purchase our second star drop pretty easily. And with that, it was time to claim our first place prize as well. Here's my judge, return to may or lose for results. Not bad. You want second place? Who the fuck beat me? So it seems getting first place is going to be a year 2 achievement. At least our schedule was opened up to take the bus and head into the desert. Here we can take the prismatic shard from before and turn it into the all-powerful galaxy sword. Something we would really be needing, as right after was time to use our skull key and head into the skull caverns. The enemies here are absolutely ruthless, with way more HP and loads more damage. Another thing with skull caverns is that there are no checkpoints anywhere down here. Instead, you'll have to go through every single floor anytime you come down. Although sometimes there are shafts you can find in place of ladders that can drop you anywhere between 3 and 15 levels. But I don't know if this was a cavern thing or just a me thing, but it took so long for me to be able to find a way down, and on most floors I had to break almost every single rock before finding an exit. With the time limit on every exploration, it made it really hard to go deep, but making it all the way to floor 41, we found a new resource with iridium, the best mineral, while also getting lucky enough to find another prismatic shard on the first one we mined. And just like everything else, we make sure to collect as much of it as we can to smelt down into enough bars to upgrade to the final tier of iridium tools. We also got a few achievements back to back, with reaching level 10 in a skill, that being farming, where we went the artisan trait to sell them at a higher price, monoculture, which was for selling 300 of one crop, cracking open more geos, we could donate 40 different items to the museum, and then also making a total of 250,000 gold. But with that, it was time for the biggest collection yet for the community center, grabbing eggplants, yams, gold, and normal pumpkins, a mussel, sandfish, large goat milk, goat cheese, jelly, and buying a pomegranate, apple, and apricot to finish the specialty fish, crab pot, quality crops, fall crops, animal, and artisan bundle, allowing us to repair the pantry and collect our 3rd star, all right before winter hits. And with no crops or anything to grow in the winter, we were right back to collecting for the community center. But while we do our last grab, now is probably a good time to explain why this isn't a full 100% like the title says. One is because of a small time restraint I have in the future. I didn't want to just scrap the video because a lot of it was already edited, and pushing it back further wouldn't have really worked either, as it's been a minute since I posted. But easily the bigger reason is because the massive amount of boredom that has hit me, which really put me off of this game. But before you say anything, if this video does at all well and there's any demand for it, then I will revisit Stardew Valley and completely finish the 100% all in one video. With that, we have now finished the winter foraging, specialty fish, enchanters, fodder, chefs, dye, and a field research bundle, preparing the crafts room, fish tank, and the rest of the center, meaning we have completely brought the community center back to life while also making it to the end of this video. Thank you to everyone who watched me start my 100% and who has made it all the way to the end. Again, if there's any demand at all for part 2, then y'all will see it again in the future. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. If you would like to see more, we stream all of these videos over on Twitch, which will be down in the description, and have many other games already posted on the channel. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you all have an amazing day.